My name is Thandi Allin Dyani. I'm 43 years old. I am Danish South African. I'm a mother. I'm a CEO. I'm a DJ, and I think I'm a bridge builder. And I believe strongly in equality in many ways. My father, he was in exile in Denmark, so racism has been a premise of my life. My whole premise of my childhood of being in existence was being an illegal biracial, child. So I think it's always been a presence. And I think the worst memories of racism was actually when my father died. We traveled to South Africa to bury his body next to his family. And it was during apartheid. It was in '86. Somebody asked to be moved away on the plane from our family because we were mixed. We were brown people. But also very much during primary school. My teacher was, I think I realized later on that she was doing a whole bunch of different things to me and not the other children. You get this, you're fit for high school, you're not fit for high school, you're maybe fit for high school. And she categorized me as not fit for high school, and all of the rest of the children were fit for high school. And I think my mom, she was like, well, maybe it's because of your age. I started a year early because I could read and write before school. So maybe it's a, maturity thing. But when we think about it, of course it wasn't. And I think there's a lot of kind of those experiences where I have questioned myself and questioned whether or not this is because of my race. And I think it's very predominant in the educational system and in the job market. When both when I was done with high school, I had a really hard time finding a job. People wouldn't even answer when I sent an application. And the same thing when I was done with my university degree when I was 30 something. I sent I think 150 applications without hearing anything. I think when you don't get an answer, it feels very harsh. It feels very kind of excluding, like you don't matter at all. So it brings a sense of sadness and frustration that, okay, well, I took this effort of writing an application to something I find interesting, but nobody seems to give a shit about it. So I think, yeah, I've experienced it in many levels, and also the harsh things, the in your face stuff, like being spat on, being yelled at, stuff like that. But I think actually the subtle racism, the structural racism, that's what gets to you, because it feeds into your self-worth and the way you see yourself. So yeah, my mother, she really taught me how to, I mean, she introduced me also to my black side somehow, even though she's white, because I lost my father in a young age, as I said. And she really took her time to bring me into spaces where I was not the only one, because I think we can all agree, being a person of color in Denmark, you find yourself alone in a room many times where your feelings, you can't bounce them off with somebody who doesn't understand your position. So yeah, it's hard. It is. And my husband is Danish, white Danish, and I have two boys. And sometimes I've been like, oh, I'm so relieved they don't look like me. They don't have the same skin color as me. My oldest son, he's super blonde and like straight hair. Some people, especially in South Africa, actually, oh, are you the nanny? I'm like, no, I'm his freaking mom. But sometimes I felt like I was happy that they didn't look like me, which is such an awful thing to say, but just to relieve them from some of the racism that's been in my life. Of course, they can't be sheltered from it. Also, having like half their family is brown and black, so yeah. But it's hardcore. I want to leave this world like better for them. I don't want them to go through what I've gone through. But I think it's important to remember that your position is very different from your children's, and sometimes you won't see the same things as your children see, or you won't feel that pain of somebody, spitting on you or calling you a nigger or whatever it can be. Like you don't feel that on your own body. Of course, moms, I'm a mom myself. The pain they feel, I feel. But if you don't, from your position as a white person, really truly have felt that on you, you don't know how it is really. So I think it's important for mothers and fathers of mixed children, or brown children, or black children, that they also give them a chance to get to know whatever heritage they come from. Yeah, hygge is something everybody can relate to here in Denmark, and it's sort of like it's this mood you're in. Oh, we're just having fun, it's a pleasant kind of, and in this pleasantness we can say and do everything, but it's not true. Um, and I felt that hygge is all over all the time, and it's from like, oh, you're you're a university graduate. I mean, wow, that's so amazing. I'm like, why should that not apply to me, that I can actually do an education and just do it. Or can I touch your hair? Or people not even asking if they can touch my hair, they'll just do it. And I think also being a DJ, and my father was a musician, there's been a lot of, oh yeah, of course you come from that kind of creative space, because people of color are so rhythmical and whatever. And sometimes I wish my father was just an accountant or something. um, but I hate it. It excuses a lot of behavior, that you can put it into this context of our pleasant conversation. But it's also a way, I think, that sense of hygge is also the way that people will shut you down if you have a problem with the racist behavior. They'll like, oh, come on, we're just having a nice time. Why do we need to take this up now? And it's annoying, and it needs to stop. I think 2020 is definitely the year we need to have a conversation about racism. I mean, we should have had this conversation about racism a long time ago, but I think there's a lot of movement right now in the grassroots and from like all around, and people are really speaking up. And as somebody who's 43, who's growing up in the 70s and 80s, there was nothing like that. There was no conversations going on. It was always something like, oh yeah, free Mandela or whatever. It was so far away, and it was like on this political level. But I think it's so, for me, it's been such a relief to see all the young people just being completely out there with all they've been through. I think it's also maybe a little bit annoying that it's only black people who has to tell the story. I would like to hear from somebody who can tell the reverse story. Okay, I was actually racist in this particular time, and I feel badly about it. I want to change my behavior, and I want to change that narrative. But 2020, man, God, let it be the year for us to change something for real. Um, my advice to people would be, look deep within yourself first. I mean, I give this advice on many agendas, also gender equality, and when we want to move forward with some kind of organizational thing or whatever it can be. I think it's so important that we look in our own selves. What is it that I'm perpetuating? What is it that I'm amplifying in a conversation or in the way we hire people? And be, I mean, we can be first movers. We can be front runners in the fight against racism. And I think we just need to be bold enough to look within. And I think that's very much what's needed, especially in Denmark. In some ways, we are so much further behind than other countries in these conversations, because the acknowledgement of racism is not even there yet. People will argue and argue, but are you sure? Or is this really? And I'm like, come on, man. What more testimonies do you need? This is the time. You need to look within and change from that position. Yeah.